As an influencer, we're just looking at ourselves probably too much. I think the average person looks at themselves too much.
For sure.
But someone who's constantly making video content is looking at themselves way too much.
How do you draw the line? Like, because you're looking at your photos, your videos, you're critiquing yourself every day.
You can get carried away in chasing this unattainable idea. I'm sure you see it every day. And you have to, I think that's really more your job than mine. I think it's the responsibility of the injectors and the doctors to tell people, this doesn't look good.
Because sometimes we do see people with ideas that are just not congruent with what they have or what they should want. And, it can be a challenging interaction for the doctor. You need to rethink this, or you shouldn't be hopping around from doctor to doctor. I'm Dr. Anthony Rossi, and this is Give Good Face, a podcast focusing on skincare science, and how to maintain and shape a healthy lifestyle. Today, I am so excited because I've been waiting for this one for a while. I have Rossella Rago, a good friend. She's an influencer, author, media personality. She's as smart and intelligent as she is beautiful, but I actually think she's hysterically funny. Wow. Yeah, she makes me crack up and everyone around me. So I've known her for quite some time, but I just want to talk about all of her amazing accomplishments and what she's been doing on social media, but also with her Nonna. She has developed Cooking with Nonna. You can find her on Instagram. And it's just an amazing tribute to Italian-American heritage, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I was the first Nonna influencer. The first Nonna content creator back in 2009. And now there are so many. And some people come at, I'm from New York. You're from Staten Island. I'm from Brooklyn.
Exactly.
And people are like, there's so many people copying you. And I'm like, I don't view it that way. I don't own Nonnas.
I feel like you do.
I mean, it's like, they got to kiss the ring. They should.
They should.
If they were smart. But I'm just happy that, spending time with your grandparents is a cool thing now, because they really do hold the keys to who you are.
That's one thing I love about you. When I first met you, you talked about your Nonna just so lovingly, and being an Italian American myself, we share that same familial bond, and you cook with her and you share all her recipes. So did you learn cooking from her?
I did. I was studying to be an Italian teacher at St. John's University in Staten Island.
Yes, represent.
And I wasn't allowed to dorm because nice Italian girls weren't allowed to dorm in the early 2000s. And if they were, my father Vito wasn't going to pay for it.
I love Vito, by the way.
Vito's amazing. He's a star in his own right now.
Yes.
But I had to live with my grandmother. So I shared a bedroom with her for 4 years.
Wow.
While I was going to school.
I didn't even know that.
Okay. I've seen some stuff.
Yeah.
She would come in the bathroom. There were no boundaries. So she would come in the bathroom when I was in the shower, just pull the curtain back, be like, what do you want to eat today? And I'm like, can we have one conversation when I'm not naked?
Yeah. Exactly.
Just one.
But that's your Nonna.
That's her. Yeah. I mean, she grew up with 7 siblings, in a small town in Italy. So I'm sure there were no locks on the doors.
Of course not.
But that was kind of my culinary education. I didn't even know it because we would just cook so much together.
And then what was the idea that started it? How did you realize I should film this? I should make cookbooks and recipes with her? And
it was actually Vito.
Oh, your dad.
Believe it or not,
okay.
Because we were eating dinner one night and he was like, so what do you really want to do with your life? Because you're going to be a terrible teacher. We all know.
I think you would be a great teacher.
I don't know if I was really suited to the classroom.
Okay.
I mean, imagine this in a class. I'd be fired. I'd be in trouble. I'd be written up.
You'd bring the outfits.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I should be educating tomorrow's future.
But you're educating the masses via social media. I mean, you have
in a different way.
In a different way, but you have a huge social media following. And what does that feel like?
I try to not let it feel like anything because I always was very aware of that world and the real world. And I think it's the healthiest attitude to have is that, you have to draw the line somewhere between social media and your real relationships and your real connections. And I'm grateful for the community that I've built on social media. I think the people that are out there sharing everything, there are creators sharing every pap smear, every their full relation, every time they have a fight. I don't know that that's healthy. I think some things should be private.
Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way when I got divorced, like on social media.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I was proud of you because I think you do inspire a lot of women. And I think a lot of people relate to this Italian American heritage that, you share. So they automatically, form a bond with you. And
yeah. And
they
there's
give it to
nothing
you
wrong with that.
too. Like they give it back and forth, I think.
Yes. I mean, we go back and forth a lot. Like, I'm not afraid to like clap back. I think public people are still people. The internet for some is a place to like, project all their emotional trauma and think that they could just leave it there. And it's like, no, if you comment, I'm going to respond. I'm allowed.
You're a human being too.
Yeah.
Like you have feelings, you have emotions, and I think that's something that comes across too, like the love that you have for your family, of course, the love for cooking, but also like your style, your humor, your personality, I think just shines through.
Thank you. I mean, style. People think I have style. I don't have style. I just buy animal prints and black and red and like throw them all together. It's easier to get dressed.
It's a vibe. Yeah.
No, but it's much easier to get dressed because everything kind of goes together.
That's true. Yeah.
I do a pop a leopard and on an all black outfit.
And
that's
good to go.
My uniform.
Here we are.
Yeah. Like I can't do this. You have style.
No.
I'm not you.
I get to wear scrubs every day, so
but they're nice.
In my scrubs.
They're nice scrubs.
Yeah, they're fitted.
Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah. So how do you feel about this? Because this is a podcast about beauty, not only style, but like inner beauty, health, and fitness. You've been on your own journey as well.
Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about it? You have like basically single-handedly reconstructed my face. I mean, you didn't do my nose.
No.
But we tried on the nose filler for a hot minute.
Yeah.
We decided it didn't work. And it was, time to pay someone money to break my nose and make it pretty.
And you were happy with that. I mean, it was beautiful. Yeah.
Thrilled.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like when I got my nose done, it really was the missing piece to everything of the way I wanted to feel and look and be happy with how I looked. Because as an influencer, we're just looking at ourselves probably too much. I think the average person looks at themselves too much.
For sure.
But someone who's constantly making video content is looking at themselves way too much.
And how do you remind yourself like, okay, because I see a lot of people every day coming in for cosmetic procedures or, just wanting to talk about what they can and cannot do or what they should or should not do. But how do you draw the line? Like, because you're looking at your photos, your videos, you're critiquing yourself every day.
If I see something that I'm not happy with, I'm glad, that I found like an ethical injector and an ethical doctor that doesn't lie to me, that tells me the truth, that says no when it's time to stop doing things.
Yeah.
Because you can get carried away in chasing this unattainable idea. I'm sure you see it every day. And you have to, I think that's really more your job than mine. I think it's the responsibility of the injectors and the doctors to tell people, this doesn't look good. But then I get it where it's like, if a pair of giant lips is going to make me the most confident version of myself, like who is anyone to tell somebody no?
Yeah. And you touch on a good point. There's a personal preference. There's the preference of the injector, the doctor. Like those two have to link up. So you have to make a good pairing between, the patient and the doctor because it has to work, right? Like it has to work for both people. Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's okay to say no, right? Like it's not offensive, but you want to do it in a respectful way, or you want to just have a good dialogue and trust. I think it's all about trust, like any relationship.
I trust you, implicitly with my face. Like, we've changed everything. Like we've tweaked everything probably there is on my face, but this feels like the most authentic version of me.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're a beautiful person. And like from your first cookbook to this last one.
It's like, 3 different faces.
But they're all beautiful. Yeah.
It's so funny because it's 3 different faces. And it's, the first one was before I did absolutely anything, not even Botox. And it's not that like people will see me now and say, oh my God, you've done so. Like people who know me from a long time ago, like your face has changed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you look the same as you did 20 years ago?
No, exactly. Yeah.
But it has changed. And they'll say, oh, you look like you've done a lot. But people that have never met me think my work is pretty undetectable.
For sure. I think you look amazing and like natural and like yourself, and you've been aging beautifully all along.
Yeah, I'm not afraid. It makes me more comfortable to have such a good relationship with someone like you, because it makes me more comfortable with the idea of aging. Like, I'm like, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, are you afraid of aging? I'm like, no, I do it so well.
Yeah, you really do.
I'm doing a good job at it, you know? And when I started doing things to myself, it really was for me. I think that's the biggest thing, that you have to check in with yourself.
Yeah.
Are you doing this for you, or are you doing this for someone else? Because, you know, it wasn't for anyone else. My ex-husband liked my face. He didn't like anything else about me, but he liked my face.
Yeah.
So I always knew that I was doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And it's because I wanted to feel good when I looked in the mirror. I wanted to feel like my outside matched my inside.
Yeah. I mean, you have such an energetic and vibrant personality. Like, you shine regardless. So,
yeah, I needed a bigger lip.
Yeah, exactly.
I needed a bigger, just the upper one.
Yeah.
Really, honestly. It needed, because everything about me is big, and I needed some, you know, I needed that.
The shape is perfect.
Yes,
it's perfect.
It looks good. I'm happy.
When your fans and like your followers, when they say things like that, whether it's negative or positive, like, how do you deal with it? How do you internalize it? Because I know for some people that would really affect them.
I think it's been so many years now that you really do need a thick skin.
Yeah.
Because if you let every comment get, I mean, there are people who, you know, send you death threats over eggplant parmigiana. Like,
oh my God.
Imagine over something like plastic surgery or, you know, aesthetic procedures. I just think there are so many people who are sad, who walk around with no confidence, who are uncomfortable, who take a picture. They're that person, you take a picture and then they're like, no, don't post that. I hate myself. I hate the way I look. And I'm like, fix it.
That's sad too, to hear that, to hear someone say that, because everyone should really try to love themselves and love the beauty within and without. Yeah.
I think life is too short to not love the way you look.
Yeah.
You know, and like,
especially in this age.
Absolutely. Where we have the technology.
Yeah.
We can change
Great technology.
it. Really good technology. You know, it's like Dolly Parton said, if there's something you know, want to do, got the nerve to do, and can afford to do, you should do it.
Yeah. And I think if you have a good trusting relationship with that physician, like, they'll guide you in a good, safe way.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important.
I mean, there are people that I feel like the aesthetic in England, in London, is
a bit different.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, isn't like Staten Island the London of...
Yeah, I am from Staten Island. I can not hate on either place because I love both. But yes, the aesthetics are different. Yeah.
Like when the lips walk into the room before you do.
Yeah. We always talk about balance and harmony and proportion, especially in faces, because, you know, when we learn aesthetic surgeries and aesthetic procedures, we always think about ratios. Mm-hmm. And you can't always go by like something like the golden ratio, like, which is a mathematical Greek principle, because that really only fits like Western faces. But, you know, there's so many different ethnicities, so many different, you know, walks of life, that we really want to hone in on that person individually, right, and then balance out their face. So it's not a one size fits all. And I think that's where you're getting to.
No, I mean, that's why it's so harmful to compare yourself to, I want that nose, I want those lips. That's not going to fit you. It's not going to look good. Exactly. You know, I feel like everything I've done really fits me because I didn't chase that. I didn't bring in a picture of Angelina Jolie and said, do this. Totally. You know, I wanted to look like the best version of myself.
Yeah. Now maintenance is so much easier, right? I mean, like, you don't have to do much, and you're just aging beautifully. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's about being conservative with, you know, with how much you go, how long you wait in between. You know, I like this stage of my face, you know, I'm starting to get movement again, but, you know, I'm an expressive person.
Totally.
So I didn't want to lose all of my character, you know. I wanted to keep some. I just wanted to make it, you know, nice and smooth. And
hey everyone, I want to take a quick break from today's episode to introduce you to a fantastic tool, Hygge Health Light Therapy. This light therapy device harnesses the power of red and near-infrared light to promote skin rejuvenation, reduce inflammation, and even help with collagen production. It's a safe, non-invasive way to brighten up your complexion, ease muscle tension, and improve your mood, all from the comfort of your home. I've seen remarkable benefits with light therapy, and Hygge Health makes it easy and accessible for everyone. So if you're serious about glowing from the inside out, Hygge is your go-to. Check out hyggehealth.com and use code GiveGoodFace for an exclusive discount. Glow brighter, live better with Hygge Health. You make a lot of people blush when when you're in the room. Do you remember the first time you got Botox?
I do. I was 31. I was late to the game.
No, I think that's great. I mean, yeah.
You know, now like they're like 18. It's like you get your period, you get Botox. It's the same.
See, now I'm blushing. Yeah.
But like I was 31. I was getting married, so you know nothing is gonna motivate you more.
Yeah.
Than
it was your wedding, right?
It was a big day, and I think I like cried. I was like, oh my god, I need Botox now. Like but now it's like, you know, don't even numb me.
Yeah. You're a pro. I've known you for a long time now. So we've gone through a wedding.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know.
And a divorce.
And it's so many things.
I mean, that's one thing, you know, I love about my job is that I get to meet people at all different stages and also go through things with them. And, you know, you've really come a long way. Like we see it online, but I mean, I also know you and you've gone through emotional things and even now your fitness journey, like you're so healthy, like you're so fit and so healthy. Like what have you been doing?
You know, like the glow up. You got to do. I mean, I don't know. Was the wedding prep like more intense or the post divorce like glow up prep? Like I think we went harder after.
Yeah.
You know, definitely. But I did that in all areas of my life, and I am a big bar devotee. I do Physique 57.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only thing that I've been able to do consistently that I really like. I think you have to find a way to like working out.
Did you go through a lot of different workouts? Because even your stories inspire me. Like when you're at Physique 57, like super early, like I'm like, I should be working out.
You get up at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, I get earlier and earlier.
Don't you do like, you spin, you swim, you triathlon,
all of the above.
I like do squats in a ballet bar. Like
yeah, but you know, I mean, you're after it.
I am. I mean, I did do a lot of, it took a long time to find something that really felt compatible with my body because especially during the pandemic, I was doing a lot of high intensity, a lot of like the Insanity workout.
Like the HIIT workout.
But like, you know, doing it in your house with like no shoes on and jumping like that and you don't know how to land. No, I was in my own apartment, thank God.
Oh, okay.
But like that was actually really bad for my body, I think. I think, you know, you don't know how to, when you're jumping and landing so hard, you know, because I'm a hard walker. Like I stomp.
You're a New Yorker.
Yeah, I walk like a New York person. I jump like a New York person. But I think all the high intensity workouts were doing was spiking my cortisol.
Okay.
And really inflaming my body. And it wasn't until I found something like barre that is slower and less impactful that I think everything just calmed down and like sucked together.
Yeah, you're super toned. I mean, and do you feel like, I mean, a lot of people like barre because those small micro movements can really like get all those different muscles. Even when I do it, I'm like shaking. And like,
men die.
Yeah, I know.
When they do barre.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like anything, but it really, you know, creeps up on you.
I have to say, if anyone wants to try an intense workout, barre workout is really intense.
It makes me feel the best. I think like there's an afterburn. They say I don't know if they mean that, like, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah, for sure.
But I just think it gives, especially for women, I think it gives you the most feminine body type. And nice. I loved it. It's really inspiring for me to be able to start something. I was 36 when I started barre.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, that's a great, I mean, you found a new passion. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm probably in the best shape of my life now at 37, almost 38. And it really like makes me remember that it's not over till it's over, you know?
You're so young. Yeah. That has really changed your attitude towards things, or do you think it's just accompanies like this new attitude? Because you're really like very open online now. You're really motivation. I love the motivational, you know, snippets because they have humor in them too, which is like really good.
Yeah, I think it's my delivery. I think I'm not saying anything no one else has said. But I think it's the way I say it that makes it more digestible for people.
It also seems genuine. It
is genuine. I mean, I'm really on in a new season of life, you know, and sometimes you feel like you start your life over. And so I feel like I'm just like starting my life over again now. Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing. But I think all the things together. I mean, I do meditate, I do hot yoga, I do barre. Everything has taught me something. Like in hot yoga, you only breathe through your nose. And I think it's such an important lesson in how to be present.
And regulate.
And be in the present moment. Like you're in this very hot, uncomfortable room and all you can do is breathe.
And so you're not thinking, you know, 4 weeks in advance, 10
No.
weeks in advance. You're not thinking about years in advance. I mean, it does refocus you. Yeah. That's an important.
Because we don't do that.
No, I know.
You know, and we convince people constantly that we should always be worried about something, right? And I think that's the biggest lie we tell people. Always be worried about something. Be worried about next week and next year and 40 years from now, and plan for your retirement and your 401k.
Yeah.
And like, if you're not worried about it, you should be. And
or if you're going to get married or not going to get
yeah,
married.
if you're going to have kids, are you going to freeze your all of it. Like,
Yeah.
and we forget to be happy now. We forget to be okay now. And we can lose that so easily by not being here today.
Yeah. I think that's one. It's like watching you cook is also like very meditative, I think.
Oh, it is.
It's fascinating because like you're making the dishes. A lot of those dishes I grew up with, you know, my mom is a great cook. My dad's a great cook too. And
Your dad's a character.
yeah, he's a character. I should have him on the show too.
We should have all our parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you smoke in here?
No, exactly. It's a non-smoking podcast. Yeah. But no, it's true. We grew up with like such vibrant families, and I mean, Italian Americans are unique in their own right too. And I think, you know, how you develop your own personality within that family is quite unique. But you seem to be the star. Yeah.
Well, I think I have two kind of eccentric parents, and it was a lesson in really accepting them.
Yeah.
Over the years, because, you know, when you grow up as a child of immigrants, you feel protective of your parents because you're kind of their parent from an early age. Sometimes you have to like read their mail. You have to like make their appointments.
Totally.
You're very aware that your traditions are not everyone else's. So sometimes you could be embarrassed. And I think I was embarrassed for a long time.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, I felt like I had to like water them down a little bit to other people, make them more palatable to other people, because I just felt like, no, the people just aren't going to understand.
Yeah.
And it's on my whole journey, it's been a big lesson to really accept them for who they are. And you can spend time wishing that your parents were different people, but that's only going to keep you in pain.
Yeah.
Or you can just pick the things that you love about them and say, you know, my mom is so funny.
Yeah.
And she's so warm and beautiful and talented. I want to take that. You know, I don't want to keep that she holds a grudge for 45 years.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to keep that stuff.
You learn from them, right? Like you realize they're not infallible. So like we take them for who they are, and then you learn. And some of your best traits are probably their traits.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think I have the gift of the awareness to kind of edit now that I don't have to keep that.
Yeah.
I could leave that there.
Yeah.
Like,
you're you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they supportive of like the beauty transitions, and, you know, or were they like classic, you know, Italian American?
My mother will drag me to the office. Like, my mother is so supportive of those things. I mean, she's an artist.
Yeah.
So, you know, she loves the human body. She loves the human face. Like, she really appreciates proportions and symmetries and asymmetries and stuff. And when I was 16, my mom got plastic surgery for the first time.
Okay.
And I saw what that did for her confidence. And it's not like she wanted me to do it too, like with her or anything, but she just always supported me wanting to change something if it would make me happy, if it would make me feel better.
Yeah.
You know, she really always was very intuitive with that as a woman, I think.
I think you have a really healthy approach to aesthetics because you do things for you. You think about them. You don't do them like spur of the moment. They're not rash, you know? So I think you have a really healthy outlook. And like, because sometimes we do see people with, you know, ideas that are just not congruent with what they have or what they should want. And, you know, it can be a challenging interaction for the doctor to like be like, okay, no, or, you know, you need to rethink this, or you shouldn't be hopping around from doctor to doctor to doctor, you know? But
what would you do if like someone asked for something and you know they're going to go do it somewhere else?
Yeah. I try to ask them why they want to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm fascinated by like human psyche too, and like why people are motivated to do certain things. And if you just ask why, sometimes you get these answers that you didn't know was coming, you know, whether it's a breakup or, you know, they're stressed out, or some people need a new job and, you know, it's a competitive work environment. Right. And people are like, you know, I'm a little bit older, you know, I want to look my best because I can still do the job, of course, but I just want to be competitive in that environment. And we do live in a very aesthetically driven society.
Right. Like, imagine how much things have changed. Like, if you watch movies from the 80s, people's teeth weren't perfect.
Of course.
They were crooked, chipped.
Yeah.
Like, we just we don't accept that anymore.
I know. It's interesting, like, especially like your Nonna's generation. I mean, you were saying about like the photographs and
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like people had moles that were, normal, like, or just imperfections. But like, I look at a face like my grandmother who never had it. I mean, she never even wore makeup. She stopped dyeing her hair when she was 50. And, it was just like lipstick, soap and water. And like the wrinkles tell a story. They're beautiful.
Yeah, she's amazing.
They're gorgeous. I still don't want to look like that.
No, totally. I mean, you love her, you appreciate it. Yeah, exactly.
I see women of that time, and I know that there's also an element to the story that they felt guilty taking care of themselves.
That's a huge point. There are many people who think it's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
And what do you say to that?
I just think it's strange to me because, I'll get comments like, you don't need Botox. And I was like, well, do you need to dye your hair, Susan?
Yeah.
Do you need to wax your mustache? But you do.
Yeah.
But those are acceptable forms of self-care. And, aesthetic procedures or plastic surgery is still regarded as this like frivolous, vain thing that you don't need. And I'm like, who are you to tell me I don't need something?
Exactly. And I think it's like going to the gym. Like, we take care of our bodies, we take care of our minds, we can take care of our faces and our aesthetic.
Yeah. I mean, your skin is your largest organ.
Yeah, exactly. And I know at least a lot of men sometimes will say, oh, I don't need that, or I don't. But, there are now men coming around and being like, oh, I just like the way it makes me look. And like, I feel confident. And so they're getting on it too, which I'm all for, I think,
But it makes you feel like, what's like the dopamine release after you get something done?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, there is some research that goes into why Botox makes people feel good. Like when they looked at the studies and they asked patients like how they felt afterwards, there was a higher like rate of happiness basically, or their mood was improved. And people are still looking into that of whether it's like a neurofeedback, if you can't make the frowny face, like if you can't get mad and make that, maybe it's telling your brain you're not upset. Or is it just because they look better? So there's still a lot of work to understand what's going on, but yeah.
See, because it's interesting because when you leave the office, like when I leave the office, I look like I went 12 rounds with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because
the most recent fight? Or?
Well, no, not the most recent one.
Yeah.
That one, like, in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, you laser stuff off, like little tiny things, and I look beat up. But you're happy because you're like, I'm going to look so good in like a week.
Yeah, totally. And I know, and we always talk about too, like the things that we did when we were younger, like tanning. Again, I grew up in Staten Island, a very tan heavy community. And so I've admitted this on here. I've used tanning beds in the past. And even that has a dopamine reaction.
Absolutely.
Like that intense, exposure to UV. I mean, we have UV receptors as well. So like you feel good after you come out, even though you've just like fried your skin and you've increased your rate of melanoma, you increased your rate of skin cancer. And unfortunately, I've had a skin cancer before, but I know I'm trying to educate people, like, do not use tanning beds.
Yes. I mean, the women who follow me, if they already use tanning beds, I'm not going to make them stop. Like, no, probably not. But I do try and encourage women to use sunscreen.
Yes.
Ever since.
The best like anti-aging.
Yeah. 12, 13 years old when it really starts. They're so much more educated now.
Totally.
But I think sunscreen is still not like the cool thing to do.
I know. There's like so much misinformation on TikTok and social media about like sunscreen and, dermatologists were always trying to promote the healthy use of sunscreen because it really does prevent UV damage. It prevents skin cancer. And we also know it prevents aging, which is amazing.
Well, I have this picture of this lady who really didn't age well. I'm not going to say her name, obviously. But I use that picture to scare the life of God. I use that picture to put the fear of God into little girls when I meet them, when I see that they're not. I could always tell. Like the ones that aren't using sunscreen, or they're like, it's in my makeup. And I'm like, that's not enough. Do you want to look like this?
Yeah, it's not enough. Yeah, you need a base sunscreen before putting on any makeup. Exactly.
Yeah. It's really important, and it's one of those things that I definitely did not do until, maybe 10 years ago. And I did the whole tanning bed. I used to tan like it was my job.
I know. I know. So many people have said it. But, it's important. We're all changing, right? So we're constantly changing. Change is good.
Yeah.
I know you talked about change a lot. And, your Nonna had some change for a while with the dementia. And, like, how have you adapted to that?
Yeah. I mean, dementia is really difficult to deal with, I think, for whoever's going through it, and mostly for the family of the person that has dementia. I mean, it's this long goodbye.
Yeah.
It feels like it's like they die twice because the person that they were is gone and they become a new person. And in my case, my Nonna is more childlike, now. And it used to make me really sad, and it took a long time for me to come to terms with it. I'm going to be very honest. There was a period of time it hurt me to spend time with her, to see her the way that she was. But now I really try and look at it as, she's reliving her childhood that she wished she had.
Oh.
Because if you really think about it critically, my grandmother was the oldest of 7. By the time she was 14, there were 7 children for her to take care of because she had to leave school when she was, in 3rd grade.
Wow.
And it was her job.
She was the parent. Yeah.
Yeah. Her parents worked and she didn't have a childhood, and when she was 14, because she was malnourished, because her twin baby brothers were born around at the end of World War II, there wasn't a lot of meat to go around. And so they would have more to eat, she wouldn't eat.
Wow.
So she developed pleurisy when she was 14, which was life-threatening then in a small town in South. You don't want to get it now.
No.
In Southern Italy.
Southern Italy.
In the 40s.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
not great. At that time, women could only, women who were in their teens were only taken to doctors in secret, because if the town knew that you were sickly, you wouldn't get married.
Wow.
And not only you wouldn't get married, none of your sisters would get married.
Oh, wow.
So she had to be taken to the doctors in the middle of the night, so no one would know about it.
That's a story.
Oh, please.
Yeah. And so when did she learn the love of cooking or the art of cooking?
It was always her job. It was her job to cook for the family, and her younger sister, who's 2 years younger than her, it was her job to clean. So my Nonna cooked and her sister Rosa cleaned. And they ran that household. So she grew up cooking anything that they could. I mean, sometimes it was just pasta and vegetables. But then over time, she was just this quintessential Nonna that always asked you if you've eaten.
Yeah.
Always worried about you.
Yeah.
I have all the voicemails in my phone are of her telling me that she made food and to come get it.
Oh, amazing. I feel like that gives me a lot of warmth, because I have those memories of my grandmother too. And it's just they're always concerned whether you ate or not.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are you eating enough?
Yeah.
You're skinny.
Yeah, exactly. You're too skinny, Now, are you still cooking with her?
It's really hard to cook with her now. She doesn't want to. I think she really is reliving this childhood where she is cooked for and she is cared for.
Yeah.
And I have to honor that.
For sure. I think that's,
because it's her time. She spent 80 years, 85 years taking care of other people. It makes sense that we fully take care of her now. So, I'll try and do some content with her because people just really love seeing her.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I like to prioritize her rest, because when someone has dementia, they're not the person they used to be. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's about dignity. The person that she was probably wouldn't want to be seen this way.
I hear you. So
I have a little bit of a problem sharing this version of her, because I know the way she was, and she was so proud. Yeah. She would always have her hair fixed.
Totally.
Always, have her pearl necklace on. And
she has a great aesthetic too.
She does. Yeah. And we can still do that, but she wouldn't want to be seen, not making sense, not cognitively aware. And I know that. Yeah. And, when people try and fight me on that, it's like, I think I know her a little better than you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I mean, we see her in all the cookbooks too, which is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really lucky that Cooking with Nonna Sunday Dinner is my 3rd cookbook. was all about her. Because of the pandemic, I couldn't do my regular, 30 Nonna tour.
Yeah.
I had to really focus on her and her story. And it was right before she really, her memory really started to go.
Okay.
So I had that time with her to sit down and have her explain to me in great detail the story of our family.
That's so key. And she's how old now? Like,
she's 91.
Wow.
She'll be 92 in April. But I tell people that all the time. Find the oldest person in your family and ask them to tell you the story, because everyone has a story.
Exactly. And I mean, these stories are fascinating because, again, like, my family is from Italy as well. And like these stories around the wartime, I mean, they're just things that we don't even think about now, which is
to me that it was the greatest generation that ever lived.
Yeah.
We'll never know that struggle.
Totally.
We'll know a bunch of other ones, but
social media dysmorphia,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Starbucks is charging for almond milk.
Exactly.
Like it's horrible.
Yeah.
They really are a special brand of people.
There was a lot of uncertainty. A lot.
Yeah, just for survival. I mean, the fact that my Nonna got on a boat to go meet her husband in Venezuela with 2 little children.
Wow.
And it's like, see you in 2 weeks. There's no WhatsApp.
Yeah.
You just trust that the guy's going to be at the dock when you get off the boat.
That's wild. And like the amount of uncertainty and fear, but she probably just like pressed on.
No, I mean, she was probably 25 years old at the time, 26 years old, 2 small children. One's barfing all over the place on this boat. The other one won't stop crying. Like, this is misery.
Yeah. And like, we get upset if we can't get our confirmation like on our phone. Like, in instant real time. Like it's wild.
But that was the age where, men wrote letters.
Yeah.
From the trenches in a war. And now you get like YWD.
Yeah. Are you back dating? Can I ask you that?
I'm really happy in my life now. I mean, it's just, I have a really good life. So, I mean, if there's someone that can add to that, sure.
That's awesome. Okay.
But I get asked that all the time. I love love. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
You are very you have a romantic side of you too.
I'm super romantic. I'm a lover girl.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to love being with yourself before you can love being with another person.
I mean, that's the theme of Give Good Face, right? Like if you can give good face, you love yourself. You're sharing it with the world. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think those things happen. I believe in God. Am I allowed to say that I believe in God? Of course. I believe in God. I believe that you meet the right people at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Even the wrong people. My marriage had to happen. It was fated. It was destined. But everything that has happened to me brought me exactly where I am now.
Yeah.
So I don't regret anything. And I just trust that, there's more coming.
I think this version 2.0 of you is just amazing. Like,
yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, she's
she's
a
optimized.
Cool girl. Yeah, totally optimization.
But she's a lot to handle. She's a lot to deal with. I think in relationships, I always had this like wound of like, am I too much? Is my family too much? And is my
insecurity?
Yeah, and does my too much mean I'm not enough somehow? But the reality is you're never too much for the people that can't get enough of you.
And for the right person.
Yeah. Like there's someone out there who loves your too much.
Yeah.
Who wants to like eat it for breakfast.
Exactly.
And it really is just that either you're surrounded by the wrong people or you don't accept yourself.
It's okay to let those go.
Yeah, you have to. You can't return to relationships or to spaces that you've outgrown.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to accept that you're in a different place and you have to go somewhere else. And you have to surround yourself with people that don't make you question yourself. Yeah. You deserve to feel good. If you're feeling bad all the time around people, it's time to change the people.
Yeah, sometimes we hang on to ideals or ideas of what we think is supposed to be or perfection. And I think once you realize that like that's not needed, you can move on from those relationships.
Yeah, you can let them go like in a loving way. I mean, that's hard when you're from Brooklyn because it's like, fuck you, I hate you, you bastard. Like, but no, I've learned to do that. And that is a feat for someone who comes from where I do.
I know, we both come from
never going to talk to you again.
Yeah.
You're dead to me.
Yeah. And I think, sometimes you have learned behaviors too. I mean, that could be a whole nother show, but like the idea of learned behavior of like the emotional reaction. How do you like, it's really important that we learn to control that.
Yeah, I mean, self-regulation's a huge thing that not a lot of Italian Americans are great at.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not our forte.
No.
But I think if you come from the place of everything is you, everyone is you, everyone is reflecting you, everyone is you pushed out. That's like the big cliche saying, but it really is, because it's about your energy, your vibration. Everything that's for you is trying to find you. Everything that's not for you is going to run away from you.
I love
that. Like will attract like, and you can't worry about it. You have to just trust that it's happening and it's perfect.
The worrying will eat at you. Yeah.
Worrying does nothing,
Yeah.
But another big Italian American anxiety thing is like, if you're not worried, you don't care. And it's like, no, it's not that I don't care. It's just, it's not going to help or change anything. So I don't do it.
One thing I learned from my mother is that she is like so chill. And like her level of chillness, which is interesting because she is also from Italy, but her level of chillness is just like undefined. And I'm like, I need a lot of that.
Unbothered.
Yeah, unbothered. Yeah. She's like very confident, very, she's working, she's a hairdresser,
On movie sets, right?
Yeah. And she just goes in and does her thing. And like, it's amazing to see. So that confidence is something we all should strive for.
Yeah, I think that's like a quiet mind.
Yeah.
Which is something that like I worked on for a long time. You can tell when someone has it and when someone doesn't. You can tell when someone's ruminating and when someone's not.
Exactly. And and you have so many things going on, like so many different projects, your day job, I love the shop that you're curating. It's like, it has so many amazing things that I just bought the panettone,
You bought panettone?
Yeah,
I would have
of
given you
course.
panettone.
No. You brought me the ricotta cookies.
It's Christmas and I didn't even bring a panettone. I'm such a
How could you? No.
Oh my God, it's a sin.
No, I mean, that's like my guilty pleasure in the morning.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and Sergio Cicchini. I'm so sorry. I can't. It's Christmas time. I didn't bring a panettone.
No, I already got them from your shop. Yeah.
If I was different, if I was the last version of myself, I would have thought about this till next Christmas.
No,
I'm not.
Don't worry. But speaking of eating, because like a lot of our culture is surrounded by food and family and dinners. What's your go-to meal?
My go-to meal.
Like if you had to cook one thing for the rest of the time.
Oh my God. I love making any fresh pasta because that is really like meditative for me.
So like actual fresh pasta.
I love it. I love doing it. It's so relaxing. I mean, it's repetitive. It's making something tactile with your hands. It's such a beautiful process.
I know. I always see that you can make that little pasta with the knife, or like you just
roll it on the back of a cheese grater.
Yeah.
It's it's great. I used to teach pasta classes in Chinatown to like drunk people.
Really?
Yeah, and in 40 minutes they can make pasta. You can do it too.
Wow.
But to eat, my biggest comfort food is pastina.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
My mom used to make that for me whenever I was sick.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone knows what pastina is.
Pastina is a tiny pasta. The word pastina is the diminutive of pasta. So it just means any tiny pasta. But the most widely known pastina are these tiny little stars called
stars.
stelline. But you really can use like the acini di pepe, the little dots, but I just love a bowl of pastina. Like nothing comforts me more.
And what's the actual sauce? I don't even know. Is it a sauce or is it just?
It's usually made in like a broth.
Okay.
There's like 100 million different ways to make pasta. That's why I love it so much. You can make it. Do you like it soup? What kind of pastina person are you? Do you like it soupy? Do you like it thick? You want an egg whisked into it for protein? Yeah. Yeah.
For all our health nuts out there, you could put an egg in it. Yeah.
You can zhuzh it however you like.
Is that in the cookbook or?
I do have pastina in the cookbook,
okay, good.
Of course.
So that's your go-to.
Yeah.
Amazing.
When I don't know what to make and I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I just want to and I don't worry about the carbs.
So you eat carbs.
I eat everything.
And I always tell people like they have to, there's so many fad diets and we talk about this a lot, but you need to have balance. Yeah.
I think you need to have balance. I think you need to eat when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Like physically hungry.
And learn to stop when you're not hungry.
Yes. And I think you need to exercise.
Yeah.
And I think you need to not think about it as much as we do.
Yeah.
I think we think about it way too much. Like if I have this cookie, like, my day is ruined.
Totally.
And that's just not.
The rumination. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you should focus on eating real food. Of course,
Yeah.
the big things, you should drink water, you should sleep, you should focus on eating non-processed things. But if you have an Oreo, okay.
The Mediterranean diet has actually been shown to be like super healthy. So like the Italian diet is amazing. And
in Italy, I don't think about it at all.
I know, me too. Like when I'm there, I feel like, I don't really think about the food choices because it feels different. Yeah.
No, in Italy, I'm eating pork belly, pork ears, pork everything, and I feel wonderful.
Where is your family from?
My family's from Puglia, which is in the heel of the boot on the Adriatic coast.
Yeah, which is like super popular now.
Now, yeah, thanks to Instagram.
Yeah.
The beach, Polignano Mare became like just blew up. And
I went there a couple of summers ago. My cousins from Naples met me there. We had an amazing time. Yeah.
When I was a kid, believe it or not, nobody was there. It was like a ghost town.
Wow.
And then
now it's just blown up.
You can't go.
Yeah, totally. Everyone check out Puglia.
Yes.
Yeah. Or look at it on Instagram.
Or the Italian Trade Commission. Pay me money, but you won't.
Yeah, you do a lot of things with the Italian American federations and foundations.
Yeah.
Is it your parents that give you that strong heritage? Do you identify with the culture? Like how?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was raised with a very strong connection to the Italian American community, especially the community of Mola di Bari, which is like the village that my parents come from. There's 5 Mola di Bari clubs in Brooklyn, because they all fight.
Yeah.
So there needs to be 5.
Like social clubs.
Social clubs,
yeah.
But they had events, they had dinner dances, they had church processions, there's religious clubs, there's social clubs. And my parents were, that was their social circle.
Yeah.
So all my friends were the children of my parents' friends, and we all went to the same events, and we all would meet up in Italy every summer, and it was a great community to be a part of. I mean, we did there was a beauty pageant.
That's right. I saw that. I saw that old photo of you.
Yeah, but I'm so happy that was my upbringing because, it was a big rite of passage for me, for my parents to do those things and to be so involved. My mother had a theater company.
Wow.
And she would produce plays in our native dialect. So you have to remember that in the 80s, the last wave of immigration happened.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people weren't formally educated. They could not speak even Italian, like Rye Italian, Florentine Italian. They spoke dialect, and they couldn't go to the theater. They couldn't appreciate theater. They could go, but they wouldn't understand anything. So she wrote plays. She produced 7 plays in our native dialect and in the Sicilian dialect so that people could understand, could enjoy theater.
That's amazing. In Brooklyn.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff goes down in Brooklyn.
A lot. I love Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in Manhattan, but yeah.
You don't live in Brooklyn.
Yeah, no.
You're not Brooklyn.
I can make it there.
You're like Williamsburg.
Yeah, okay. We'll compromise.
Yeah.
I had to bring the outfits to match you.
I know. No, I think this works.
Yeah, I love it. What are you most excited for next? Or are you in the present, which is great too?
So I actually transitioned a little bit from cooking with my grandmother to cooking with my mother.
Oh, that's right. I've been seeing that.
And my mother's a nonna, so it works and it fits and it makes sense. And it's been so amazing for me to kind of go through this with her because, it is sad not being able to work with my own grandmother, but it's a new generation. It's a new season. And it just makes me so aware that, my mother is not her mother.
Yeah.
I am not my mother.
Totally.
And to watch my family's story kind of evolve through social media and see people's reactions to it is so important to me. I mean, people love my mother and she's not like my grandmother at all, but they still love love what she represents and her energy, and watching people love my parents so much was so healing for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing to see you interact with them. And has your relationship with her changed now that you're doing more
with my mom?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, she's so into it. I think we're more like partners. It helps us get through conflicts easier, you know, because she understands things from such a different lens now, because she was never really a part of my content before.
Totally.
And now she just views it as something that she takes very seriously. Oh, she's like, my video went viral.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you know what viral is? She's like, I used to think it was an infection, but now I know it's something positive.
See, you should be a stand-up.
I do.
I love
Well, I don't need another job.
No, I know you do a lot of things. But it's so cool. I mean, you have family dynamics down to a T. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've always been honestly a better director, like producer, director, than someone in front of the camera.
I don't know.
I really do. I really think that I know my parents so well that I know how to get a certain reaction out of them. I love getting ideas, like writing sketches for me and my mom to do, because she's so good, but I know what she's gonna say, how she's gonna say it. I know her exact cadence. That's you know, cool. So it's making art, you know, my own version of art, but it's cathartic for me. It's so many things for me. This is really all just therapizing me.
Yeah. I mean, but you're sharing it. So in reality, you know, you are teaching a lot. I know you said you wanted to be an Italian teacher.
Yeah.
But you're teaching the world a lot of things about like family, relationships, beauty, health, you know, wellness.
I think a lot of people see me as them because I am them. You know, like what we said before, everything is relatable, you push that. So if they're seeing me and they're following me and they're aligning with me, it means they see a piece of themselves. Yeah. You know, in me. And whether sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. But, you know, especially with my relationship with my parents, people are like, oh my God, that sounds just like my mom. And it brings back memories and all these things. Or if I wear something, I wear a lot of vintage stuff. And they're like, I used to wear that in the 80s. And I'm very much my own person with my own aesthetic, with a very specific voice.
Yeah. And you're very true to yourself.
Yeah. But being so nuanced, it's so crazy that so many people, you know, relate to it.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, again, I can't emphasize how much I love the body positivity and like just owning it, right? I mean, we see so many celebrities who just won't own it. Like, you know, they won't own the work that they've done to their face. They won't own the work they've done to their body. They won't own the Photoshop or, you know, the Facetune. It's just...
I face up once in a while.
Yeah.
I will tell you what I face up. I do preset natural 1.
Oh.
Okay? That's all I do.
What that is, I need to look it up.
That's all I do, okay? Because that is the most natural one. And it's mostly for lighting. Okay. Because I'm sorry, but even Beyonce looks like shit in bad lighting.
Yeah, of course.
Okay?
Lighting is everything.
This is very good lighting. Yeah. This is beautiful, gorgeous lighting, and I look good. But like, if I'm on the subway, it's not lit the same. You're not gonna. So we have everybody feeling so bad about themselves because of like a bad picture.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think from what I've studied, my own stuff, you know, I'm a neuropsych now. Yeah. Actually looking at pictures of yourself where you look good is really good for your mental state.
Yeah. There is this ongoing dilemma that we're experiencing now, especially in the health like community, is that there's a high rate of depression among kids who are, you know, high social media users. Mm-hmm. And they've shown that like the higher use of social media, the higher rate of depression. Yeah. And it's probably because this idea of like missing out or, you know, I don't look a certain way. And people probably had it back in the day when they were looking at magazines too, of all the models that were photoshopped. But now the whole feed is, you know, just beauty, beauty, beauty everywhere.
I think you have to tell yourself that it's probably not real. Yeah. You know, whatever you see on social media is probably enhanced.
In some way, shape.
Or, I mean, and it is. I mean, I fix the lighting in my food videos. That's enhanced. Yeah. Nothing is going to replicate reality, real life, what you look like in real life. You know, if I'm going to go on a date, I'm going to do my makeup differently than if I'm going to do this photo shoot with these big lights. Yeah. You know, so totally. You see what I mean about separating social media from real life, you know, how you want to exist in real life. When people are like, oh, I'm just the same all the time. It's not true.
It's not. It's impossible. Yeah. I know so many people send me photos of people online and they're like, oh my gosh, like what has she had done?
How many times have I done that? If I had a dollar.
Yeah. I mean, I think Lindsay Lohan looks amazing. I think
nothing works harder than Lindsay Lohan's Botox.
Yeah, it's doing it. It's given the most. Yeah.
It's just the crying in that last movie, the barely crying.
I know. I do wish that sometimes actors and actresses would like let it go for a little bit so they could like emote a little bit more naturally.
I'm getting a little.
Again, she grew up, and I think she's now even being more open about it too, which is great,
I don't know why it's such a secret.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so taboo. I mean, why would I lie about something that gave me so much, that made me feel so good? I want other people to feel as good as I do, and I want them to get good work done.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get some Groupon.
No.
And
people, please put away that. Yeah.
It's not a good idea.
Yeah, it's your face. It's like, it's not worth it. And people, there's horror stories of people doing things in their house or on, that they get online. Like, again, not worth it, people.
No. Yeah. So when people ask me, I always tell them. I mean, I've sent people to you.
Yeah, of course. I think it's word of mouth is like the best honor, Yeah. And so I also think we have to ask ourselves, if you're commenting on people online or if you're trolling people, there's a lot of trolls. I always say you haven't made it until you've been trolled.
Yes, but I still don't understand the trolling. I think that it must just make them feel good for that 3 seconds.
Like an instant high.
Yeah, that they knock somebody down. They think they knock somebody down a notch by,
Do you think that's getting better, or do you think it's getting worse? Because I feel like you've seen it all.
I see it all. It's every day. It happens every day, no matter what. And it doesn't matter if you're wearing too much makeup, you're wearing too much. If you're not wearing makeup, why aren't you wearing makeup? You're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too this, you're always too something.
For the trolls out there, you have to ask yourself, why are you trolling?
Yeah, like, did this really make you feel better about yourself to sit there? I don't know. I don't like something in my head, and then I move on with my life. I don't feel the need
to express it.
But I just think people want to feel validated, so I think the internet has become a place where they feel like this is my opinion and everyone should know it.
Yeah.
Everyone should see me. They just want to be seen.
They want to be seen. Everyone wants to be seen. But you do a good job of, blocking out the haters
I'll respond. I mean, honestly, it's all engagement.
That's true.
So
get that engagement score up. Like, subscribe.
Yeah, thanks for the engagement. Yeah. But I'm not afraid of anything someone's going to say to me. I've definitely heard worse. I've definitely heard it before. And most of the times these people wouldn't say anything like this to you in real life.
And I think, just like the bully in high school, I think you have to ask yourself, why is this person doing that? They might be hurt,
Happy people don't do that.
Exactly.
Happy, effective people who have stuff going on don't have time.
Who's got jobs.
People are like, but you're responding. I was like, this is my job.
Yeah, exactly.
That's different.
That's true.
Like, this is actually my job, Brenda.
Yeah, I love it. So, I just want to say thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. You didn't even have a cookie.
We're going to have them. Yeah. Should we have them?
I brought the cookies. You didn't have one.
All right, let's try. Can we try one?
Yeah.
These are my favorite. This reminds me of being a kid.
See, I'm the only one who brings cookies to the show.
I love this.
Your other guests definitely don't eat.
No, we never ate on this show. If we had a stove, I would.
Oh my God. He broke a piece of the cookie. You didn't even eat the whole Oh my God.
Portion control. We always talk about healthy eating.
We're talking about this.
No, these are good.
They're fantastic.
Are they from Brooklyn? No, these are yours.
These are baked in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. And so we can find you on Instagram.
At Rossella Rago. My shop is Bottega della Nonna Store.
Nice.
And on Facebook, we're Rossella's Cooking with Nonna.
And you're up to your third cookbook now.
Yes. I did 3 in 6 years.
Wow.
They're my children.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to make some recipes. I've given them to my family members. Yeah. I love it.
You.
I have an autographed one. Mm-hmm. I feel blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Give Good Face. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And follow along on social at Dr. Anthony Rossi and at Rossi DERM MD.